Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and welcome to another episode of Dad on a Budget. Today we'll be reviewing Factorio. It first released on Steam's Early Access program around February 2016, and it is still Early Access, and as such, I'm breaking my rule. Yeah, I generally do not review games that are still under development, it's just not fair. So, this is less of a review and more of a recommendation. And it'll become clear as to why I'm doing this a little bit later on. So, what is Factorio all about? Well, it's a factory/survival simulation. It costs about $30 right now, has single and multiplayer, and personally I have roughly 99.2 hours on record. Now, probably a little bit more than that because I did play some beta builds that were not on Steam. So, it's similar to Factory Town and Satisfactory. What are you going to be doing in this game? Well, you're going to be collecting resources, you're going to be creating machines, automating production lines, defending against aliens that are attacking you, and your ultimate goal is to build a rocket and basically escape. So, what do I like about Factorio? Well, first and foremost, it's extremely addicting. Like RimWorld and Oxygen Not Included, this is one of those games where if I boot it up, there's no way I'm turning it off for at least another 2 hours, just because I tend to lose all track of time with it. I promised myself, you know what, I'm just going to spend half an hour on this today, and it never turns out that way. I'm like, oh, just one more conveyor belt line, or just one more factory here, or one more product here. It's just... I get so wrapped up in it. It's so good. I also like the research tree and the progression system. You start off with just like the bare bones basic. You're sitting there with a little shovel or whatever, mine pick, just picking these minerals out of the ground. It's a top-down view. And that's all you can do for that moment. And then you have to use those tiny bit of resources that you mined manually to build just these automated coal machines that they burn coal, but they automatically drill for you. And then from there, you'll be able to set up electricity and then just start automating all of your factories and your miners that way. And the type of electricity will change from, say, coal to electric, like solar, steam. So there's all sorts of different ways to power all of these structures too once you get to that point. But I love the progression. You have to construct these research packs. They come in different colors, like red and green and purple and I believe orange and white, black, I think. So you're going to be trying to find a way to get the materials that you need to craft these things and then feed them over to your research centers and then use inserters, which are like these arms, these automated arms. They pick it up from one conveyor belt, move it over to a building or another conveyor belt. And that's how you gain research points in this game. So your objective is trying to form these production chains to where you've got A plus B equals C, and then you're going to use C to make D, and then D might make this research pack for you, and then you're going to send that research pack over to your research. But it's often not that simple, because another product that you might be trying to make might use C. So you've got A plus B equals C, right? And then you've got to split C into two different conveyor belts, and then feed those two lines of C into D, and then the other one into E. But then you realize, oh, I don't have enough C to feed both, so now I've got to increase production on A and B. It's logistical nightmare, but it's so good. So, another thing I like is the starting world customization. You can set it so that there's lots of resources, or a little bit of resources, or even passive aliens. You can make it a whole lot harder by having a whole bunch of aliens on the map already, or make them more aggressive, make them spread quicker. Your buildings will emit pollution, and that will attract the enemies. So you can set how often the pollution will spread, or how quickly it does so. So you can generate different maps, and then you can choose the one that you like, different terrain. So yeah, I love that. I just absolutely like the customization there. I also like that you'll be reorganizing a lot too. Like, even though you're creating all these production chains, they're not all set in stone, because you're going to be unlocking new technology. So for example, you might have this row of conveyor belts and everything's all fine and dandy, but then you unlock something that makes everything more efficient. Let's say you've got flying robots now. So now you can just set a flying robot to pick stuff up from one chest and put it into another chest without a need for conveyor belts at all, and then that saves you some resources where, you know, you might need them elsewhere. So you're going to be putting stuff down, and then you're going to be picking stuff up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down, just in different places, trying to get the right flow going. Luckily, it's that simple. It's not like you have to sit there for an hour disassembling machines, or you have to reconstruct the machine. You can whenever you pick up a machine, it goes right into your backpack, fully ready. So you can just pick it up, put it down, put it up, or pick it up, put it down, pick it up. It's that simple. You don't have to rebuild it with other materials. So I like the fact that it's also cooperative. It's so much fun to play multiplayer in this. Yes, you can grief each other in different ways, shooting each other with a shotgun or flamethrower or what have you. But yeah, I like the fact that you can team up. It helps to have someone that knows what they're doing to help you along, get an idea of what's going on. Although, there's something to be said for playing single player and figuring out on your own, and then developing your own strategies. I mean, it's one thing to copy someone else's layout and strategies, but if you take the time to figure it out yourself, then you'll have a much better handle on how to do it and how to be self-sufficient. What's the old saying? Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, blah, 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 blah. So, I also like the fact that your character will auto-create the sub-resources, so to speak, and the items necessary to craft your desired product. So if you've got, if you're trying to build a factory that needs 4 different materials and some of those need to be crafted themselves, if you queue up your factory, your cube will automatically queue up it's basically, it'll break it up into sub-queues. So if you're trying to make E, and you have to craft A, B, C, and D to make E, it'll queue up what you need to craft A, queue up what you need to craft B, and so on, so on, so on, so that E is your final result. So you don't have to sit there and go, okay, E needs this, so I need to craft this manually. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's go back to E now. Now I need to craft B. How do I make B? Oh, this. Okay. Queue that up. No, you don't have to do that. Queue up E. A, B, C, and D are automatically queued up for you, and it's so easy. Sometimes I bypass my factories and just do everything myself. It's a lazy habit to get into because automation is the name of the game. Another thing is, this is probably one of the best logistical simulators I've ever seen. Conveyor belts, pipes, inserters, flying robots, all of that is there. And then add to that a tower defense mechanic that you can, again, you don't have to have the aliens in aggressive mode, but I enjoy it. So you have to worry about walls and putting down turrets, and in the beginning you're going to be using bullets, so you have to have machines or yourself creating bullets to put into your towers. And the question is, do you feed these towers manually by running around all the time, or do you put a conveyor belt next to each of these turrets and then create a factory that will just churn out ammo, and then inserters that will pick up the ammo and put it into the turret? Different things like that are possible. So you can be as lazy or as automated as you want to be. And another thing I like, I never use it, but a lot of people have pre-saved templates. So for example, some people have this game down to a science, like, oh, you need exactly 3 of these factories here and 4 of these factories here to make it the most efficient. They've got the ratios all worked out. I'm not one of those people. That's why I never use the templates. I'm always on the fly trying to just do whatever to make it work. But if you want to, you can create designs, different setups, and then copy and paste these via a template. I don't like... There's not a whole lot to dislike about this game. The only thing I'll say is that this game has a relatively steep difficulty curve. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a bit overwhelming at times, and you're not sure what you're supposed to do next. Like, you've got all these different research options, so you're going, okay, do I concentrate on the more gun turret damage? Do I take this factory upgrade? Do I take these production modules that make my production more efficient? So on, so on, so on. And my advice there is, advance via the availability of your science pack. She'll start off with red science packs, and then eventually green, and then some more colors. So if you don't know what to build next, and you're just starting out, just do the red ones. That's it. Just do the red ones. And worry about that. And then when you run out of just the single red technologies to do, then work on the ones that take both red and green. And then create the green science pack that you need for those, and then red, green, red, green, red, green, until you run out of those, and then start working on your next color. So that's... I don't want to say it's impossible to learn for a newcomer. I'm just simply saying it's overwhelming, but if you just follow that progression, it should be okay. And the graphics are a bit meh. I mean, but I overlook it here because as simple as the graphics are, it's a simulator. It doesn't have to look all that pretty. In my opinion, it's just a top-down factory maker kind of thing, automated factory. You're making this huge system, and it's very satisfying to look at, even when the graphics look the way they do. Okay, so that pretty much sums up what I think about this game. I think it's fantastic, but I would be remiss if I didn't rate this on my usual Picard scale. So, on a scale of, I don't think she's wearing any pants, Picard, to get off my lawn, Picard, I'm gonna have to rate this. I only had one Romulan L Picard. Well, there you go. I hope this helps to narrow down what I think about Factorio. Joking aside, it's a fantastic game. I know it's still early access, and my policy is I do not review games that are early access or still under development, but I will say this. If the game were to release right now, I would still recommend it. It's that good. It's $30. You'll get so much playtime out of it. One playthrough will take you days, possibly months, depending on, especially if it's your first time and you don't know what you're doing. You're going to spend a long time just mucking around, trying to figure things out. So, do I recommend this one? Absolutely. Even if it's early access right now, I am that confident in this product. So, yeah, Factorio broke the rule for me. I generally don't do that, but that's how good Factorio is, and I hope that conveys how much I recommend it. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I'm going to publish. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.